Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the National Real Estate Post. Frank Array here. I have a guest with me, of course, but before I get started, I want to do our general housekeeping, and that would be reminding everybody about Loan Tech, and that Loan Tech is free for a year, and you might be wondering, well, how does that help me, even though it's free for a year? What's it all about? No problem. We had a webinar a week ago. We recorded the whole thing, and all you got to do is click on this Loan Tech banner you see over here, down here. Over on your right, it'll take you to a page where you can watch that webinar. You can see exactly what it's about. You can get Loan Tech for free, which is going to help you immensely in your online lead conversion and gathering, etc. It's a fantastic product, free for a year. Don't miss out. The webinars attached to the banner that I spoke of. Okay, now on to the show. I am here with a special guest. I have with us today Julianna Brock, and she is with a company called Power Training that does NMLS education, and of course, just wrapped into that is also just compliance training in general for the mortgage industry. And she had seen our show about trended credit coming out, and of course, everybody's curious about trended credit. It was a very watched show, by the way, Julianna. A lot of people tuned into that one. And Julianna had a conversation with Brian Stevens, my co-host and partner, and she had brought up some points that were, hey, this trended credit thing is just going to be kind of a mess here once it kind of gets started. And there's a couple of reasons for that. And I'm not trying to just bring up doom and gloom. I want Julianna to kind of tell us the things to look out for once this kind of rolls out, based on the stuff that she's researched, between Fannie Mae and between various credit bureaus for the sake of her position and her job. So Julianna, I'm gonna turn it over to you. What's some of the things that this trended credit thing might, what are kind of some of the problems that might pop up, and how do you suggest kind of overcoming that or being prepared for it? What do you got?
Well, the first thing I want to say is that the trended credit data is not even required to be printed or put in the file. This is something that your underwriter is never going to benefit from. You as the company itself will never benefit from the trended data that's being collected, but you're going to pay for it.
Wow.
Because that's the way Fannie Mae is doing it. Fannie Mae is the only entity, their underwriting engine is the only entity that will actually use the data. Now, let me say if it's a good thing or bad thing, because you want an underwriter to have as many compensating factors on a loan as you need when you need to get one approved. But trended data, which could be used as a compensating factor, and Fannie is definitely using it to lower their risk assessment, but we're paying for it because they're going to say on every credit report you have to have the trended data included. Well, that's great. So now I'm going to pay $2 more or whatever it is per credit report, but yet my underwriter can't use any of the information or the data from that, good and bad. Good in the fact that, let's say that a consumer makes two payments to their credit card for $5,000 each. Well, you certainly don't want underwriting coming back and saying, well, how did you get $10,000 this month to pay two $5,000 payments? Trended data is going to show that. It's going to show they made those two payments. And if underwriting used it, it could work against us. But it could also work for us. But in any respect, we can't use it, so it doesn't matter.
Wow, that's really weird. So, now, since Fannie Mae is looking at this, at the time that they're looking at this now when we've basically sold the loan off to them, or you know what I mean, or are they getting a snapshot of this before we even get it? You know what I'm saying? Because what I'm saying is could this create a problem for a lender, who, in their mind, their underwriter says, wow, this file looks good, everything's cool, I'm good, I've approved it, now it's shipping off, but then they run this trended thing that we paid for, and based on the trended data, they go, we got a problem with this deal, and we don't necessarily want to buy this thing. Is that kind of what you're seeing here?
That's not going to happen, because trended data is going to be running just when you run your credit report, just like you do right now.
Okay.
When you pull that credit report and you're going through Fannie Mae, it's going to give you the trended data. You're going to add that piece to it.
When you run that,
we're going to know up front whether it's good or bad. Now, one thing that they do stress, and until we see it, we don't know. But one thing they do stress very highly is that this is not going to affect any borrowers who are currently in the queue. This is only going to help those borrowers who may not have been able to get there. And I just find that really interesting, because if somebody's making two payments, for example, using the example I gave you a minute ago, if they're making two payments of $5,000 a month to their credit card and getting that balance down, they're not going to have a low credit score in most cases. So that's not really going to be a factor or any help to them at all.
Right.
And this is something too that people may not be realizing, but they've been analyzing trended data for years, just not in mortgage. And so this is how your Discover card knows to give you a credit line increase, whether you ask for it or not. This is how your MasterCard knows how to decrease your credit limit. These are things that they've been viewing and looking at forever. We've just never used it. And how will it actually affect in the long run? I have no idea. Hopefully, if anything, it should take away or help take away a level of maybe tier pricing that Fannie Mae might put on it.
Wow, this is really interesting stuff. And this is supposed to, now this rolls out when again? Is it September?
September, I want to say it's September the 24th. But I could be wrong, and so I need to double check the date. But I know it's in that area.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's supposed to be much sooner, but the 24th though is not a Saturday, if I remember right. And Fannie usually does all these updates, and all this stuff happens over a weekend. And so it's usually a Saturday that it happens, and that's why I'm thinking 24th is wrong, but it's in that area.
So best advice, I mean, obviously you brought up some very interesting points with this trended credit, and there's I mean, best advice for the originators, probably at this point, they can't really do a whole lot about it, except maybe just prepare their borrowers that there's a new system.
It's irrelevant to the borrower. It's irrelevant to the originator. All we need to do is say it's going to cost you $2 more.
Really? So
I hate to say that, because it's not supposed to have any negative effect on a borrower already. It's only supposed to have a positive effect on any borrower. And so there's nothing for anybody to prepare for. There's nothing for anybody to do. I don't even have to, like I said earlier, I don't even have to print it and put it in the file, because my underwriter who's going to get this loan is never going to see it and never going to be able to use it. The only people who will ever use it or look at it is Fannie Mae. And
so the purpose for them looking at it and using it is what?
Is to give them better risk assessment of the loan.
So that they probably so they can make decisions for the future. So you know what I mean, and where they can make changes. It gives them
a better risk assessment for the loan. That's really what it's about.
So really, as of right now, though, come September when this thing rolls out, no stress. Don't worry too much about it. Just understand, hey, you're going to pay a couple more bucks for this thing because the government's gathering a bunch more data on you.
Well, because Fannie's going to get it, and they're just passing on their cost. I mean, it's just like I hate to say this, it's like any business. I mean, at some point you absorb it, but at some point, if you're going to continue to use it or do it, then you're going to have to pass it on to the consumer.
Julianna Brock with Power Training, an NMLS education type company. How can people reach out to you if they want your services? What's the best way for them to reach you?
They can either call us or they can email us. Either way, 512-451-9112 is the office. And I'm at trainer@powertraininginc.com. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay.
Going crazy for renewal.
How about your website? What's that?
It's powertraininginc.com.
Okay, powertraininginc.com. So we'll put all that stuff down below, guys. Hey, Julianna, thanks so much for that. The last show that people were kind of confused about it and a little worried about it and like, what the heck is really going to go on? I think you've just made a lot of people feel a lot better.
Well, good.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? But
not to be worried about. Let's not bring that one on.
Yeah. But I mean, Fannie and Freddie, they're doing this for a reason. So
okay, wait. You just said something I want to clarify. This is only Fannie.
Okay.
Freddie's not doing this. FHA, none of your other GSEs are going here. This is only Fannie. And so, at least for now, but you all know, Fannie starts and everybody follows suit. But so far, it's only Fannie Mae. Anybody running a loan, Freddie Mac is not going to experience this.
Okay, there you go. More good information if people don't realize that. So appreciate you being on the show with us today. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Thanks.
All right, everybody. I hope that was helpful today. I know I found it interesting. So do us a favor. Leave us your comments down below. Don't forget, share, subscribe for free in your upper right-hand corner. We'll catch you guys later here at the National Real Estate Post.